Hello everybody, Andrew here, and welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon. Let's get this loaded up. We were just starting off, we just finished chapter 5 in the last video, so now this is chapter 6. Rumple, what a brilliant day! The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have my sweet princess here to accompany me. It sounds like I'm getting easier to read too. No, you've just said it enough times that I memorized it. That means you must pay attention to my words. That in itself is a compliment, princess. It is not. We're on our way to the usual store to restock our medications when a small figure leaves out through the front door. She stares at us with a lost look on her face. Hi, lady. Rumple reacts immediately, making his way over to her with a broad smile. Madam, I can't help but notice the pained expression upon your beautiful face. Is there anything I can do to assuage your worries? For seeing your lovely face shadowed by such sadness stabs me right in the heart. The woman stares at Rumple, dumbfounded. His smile wavers and he takes a step back, suddenly looking alarmed. Oh, I'm sorry. It's you! Huh? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is awkward, madam, but I'm afraid I don't know you. What? Or do I? Do I know you? I take a step forward and look at the woman flatly. He's been cursed. He has amnesia. Amnesia? The woman stares at Rumple, scrutinizing him. You do seem different. Changed from before, in any case. So you knew me before? How terrible it is of me to forget such a lovely face. But perhaps you could help me remember. The usual flirty suggestion is in his voice, but the woman seems unaffected. I can help you remember. You can? It's no wonder I can't remember your name. You have the fairy tale curse, don't you? Who is this woman? You truly don't remember me? I'm sorry. The woman looks conflicted, but the expression is gone as fast as it appears. I'm Bria. Your fiancé. Oh. What? The shock is apparent on my face, but nowhere near as impressive as the astonishment on Rumple's face. My fiancé? She has to be lying. How can Rumple possibly have a fiancé with the way that he is? He's barely able to dedicate himself to a single woman for an hour. Bria takes a step forward and takes Rumple's hands in her own. You don't remember holding my hands like this when you took me to the forest and proposed to me? Rumple opens his mouth, but no words escape. He reminds me of a lost dog all of a sudden, with his eyes so wide. Bria runs her fingers over his hands. I loved you, you loved me, and I still love you very much. I don't remember this. How can I help you remember? Rumple's voice is faint, but he still tries to smile. The circumstances of the curse tell me that I need to remember through memories and the journal somehow. A journal? I have your old journals. I can show you the very first love letter you wrote me. Bria starts walking, her hands still clasped in Rumple's. I stare after them for a few moments, trying to piece together what's happening in my head. I chase after them. Bria enters the house, one that Rumple stares at in awe. When she comes back out, she's holding a journal. She hands it to Rumple, then opens up to the first page. This is a little embarrassing, but there it is. You compiled your letters into a journal. Rumple slowly reads over the words, and I notice the strange glazed look come back into his eyes as his expression grows more somber. This is like last time when he remembered that he was a doctor. Bria turns to me as Rumple's reading, and her eyebrows arch. And who are you? His partner. Partner? We're helping each other out with our curses. Oh, you're cursed too, you poor thing. Bria's voice is flat. She's glaring at me beneath her smile. I don't quite like Bria. There's something that I just don't care for her that much. I've done nothing to merit this distrust from her, and I can't bring myself to trust her either. Bria. Rumple looks up from the journal and stares at her. Yes, sweet? Rumple's melancholy expression throws me off. Last time he was so excited when he realized he was a doctor, but now his expression is heartbreaking. I remember. I did propose to you. In the forest, when it was dark, You set up little lights around the clearing. We spoke for a while, and then when you got down on your knee, you dropped the ring. It had fallen in the roots of some tree. We only noticed it when a bird came down to pluck it out of the bramble. I had no idea what you were looking for, but I still chased after the bird. And you got the ring back, and you knew. Bria holds out her hand, and I notice a beautiful red-green gem ring on her finger. Huh. It was still charming, though. I laughed for so long because it felt so memorable. Plucking your engagement ring out of a bird's beak. You're right. Rumple smiles, a little uncertainly. In that moment, I feel him turn away from me. He doesn't even realize I'm there, standing with Bria. Why am I feeling so uncomfortable? You said you were helping Rumple with his curse, yes? She turns to me. There's no worry. I can help him now. That is what couples do. I have to force the pity out of my heart. I have to force myself to think rationally. Something still seems off about this, but Rumple remembers, which means this is the truth, isn't it? I'm still his partner. I still feel something is wrong. I don't trust this woman. Do you know anything about him, dear? Have you helped him regain any of his memories? She was with me when I regained my memories. Ray is a very valuable good luck charm. Rumple flashes a small smile. Okay, good, I made the right answer. Decision. Small smile at me before turning to Bria. Her eyes seem a lot colder now. Tell me, what do you go by now? Until I figure out your name, I need something to call you. Rumple. Bria's cold gaze falls on me, and I can sense something in them that surprises me. Jealousy? Why would she be jealous of me? Rumple, would you maybe want to come back home with me? What? I know you must be overwhelmed, but our home might be able to help you remember some things. I'm sorry. I actually have a patient somewhere else that I need to tend to. Bria's eyes flash briefly. Her frown is there for a few seconds before she smiles again. You always were good with your patients. I'm sorry. It's okay. I understand that you're overwhelmed. But remember, now I'm here for you too. I want to mend things, to make them go back to what they were before. How about you look over that journal, and then we meet again tomorrow. We can take this one step at a time. I would like that. We can get to know each other again, and in time, I'm sure you'll remember what we used to have. I loved you, and I did too. I still do. A slight shiver runs down my spine as I stare at the two of them. There's that uncomfortable feeling once again. Bria and Rumple agree on a spot to meet tomorrow, and then she leans up to kiss Rumple on the cheek. He puts a hand on his cheek as she walks off with a gentle smile on her face. Are you okay? He looks at me, and for a few moments I feel that his gaze lingers longer than it normally does on my own eyes. Then he smiles and laughs. Of course I am, Princess. I had just remembered something about my own past. I'm guessing that the second entry has appeared in my journal by now. I can't wait to get back to the march and to read it. Bria has the rest of my journals, so I might truly be able to remember everything if I talk to her. Including your love for her? Oh, well. He sighs out before he proclaims that we should finish our errands. I follow him around the town, though the scenery lacks its usual vibrancy. Rumple doesn't speak to anyone, not even the girls, while we walk. He keeps his eyes focused on the ground, and when he speaks to the shop owners, his cheer is lukewarm at best. I try to start a conversation with him many times, but he shies away from talking. I feel like there's something he's not telling me. It's about Bria. When we arrived at the Marchen, Rumple quickly excuses himself, not even sharing his epiphany about his past with anyone. What has him so bent out of shape? He just regained another memory. I'm assuming he's going to go read about it now. It's not like him to hide things. I hope Rumple's okay. I really hope Rumple is okay. I really don't care for Bria. It's been about a week since Rumple regained his last memory. He's been meeting with Bria since then, but he still hasn't told me about the memory from the journal. He doesn't flirt with any girls, and when he sees me, his smile looks broken. He spends his days, back, visiting Bria and tending to Parfait. You're worried about Rumple, aren't you? Why would I be worried about him? What? Because Rumple's no longer able to run errands with me, Waltz decided to take his place. But Waltz's presence cannot make up for Rumple's absence. He'll be fine, Princess. He's still figuring things out. I don't trust that woman. His fiancée? She appeared out of nowhere. People who aren't cursed can't find the tavern, Princess. She would never have been able to find him. So really, the only place she could have met him was out here in nowhere. I can tell that he's teasing me, but it does little to lift my spirits. I know. Walt sighs. If you don't trust her, why not just ask around for her? She obviously does not want to talk to me. No, I mean ask others about her. So long as you find a way to phrase your intentions honestly, I think they might understand you. Rumple says my honesty is good, but I also know that the way I speak frustrates many people. Come on, I'll help. Yay, thank you, Waltz. Waltz approaches a flower shop where several people are gathered to look at the fresh flowers. Excuse me, madam, sir, I was wondering if you knew anything about someone named Bria. We hear that she's engaged to a friend of ours, but he hasn't said much about her. Everyone calls me blunt, but I would have never questioned others so openly. Does Waltz really expect that people would be so open to him? Oh, if it isn't Waltz, doing a little investigating work, are you? Just looking to find out more about someone important to a friend. Not going to put this into one of your shows, are you? Waltz raises an eyebrow and laughs. Of course not. Everyone just trusts Waltz. I suppose he must speak to people often, being a performer. They would probably never suspect Waltz to do anything morally questionable. And yet with me, they were suspicious of everything that I did. I guess it's a good thing Waltz is here. I stifle a sigh as the so-called investigation begins. But Bria, I was under the impression that her fiancé wasn't seeing her anymore. Bria? Oh, poor Bria. I hear that the poor dear made a mistake and that her fiancé threw her out for it. I knew it. Is she engaged to someone new now? I'm not surprised, given the affair that she had on her first fiancé. Oh. Well, shit. Excuse me, what did you just say? Oh, you aren't aware? I'm terribly sorry. Perhaps I shouldn't have said anything. You said she cheated on her first fiancé? She was engaged to some man, a doctor, I believe. He was a good man, always smiled, helped everyone, including the poor. I don't see how she would have the gall to do it, but the rumors state that she was seeing another man. I think I saw them out together sometimes. He was a rich businessman. Who was he? I believe he was one of the doctor's patients. Did anyone see this for sure, ma'am? Oh, lots of people did, and that's why the poor man stopped seeing her, bless his heart. He looked heartbroken. But then, the two of them were engaged, so she should have been more committed to him. When Bria first approached Rumple, she said she had no idea he had amnesia. She started apologizing to him. Was it for that affair, or am I just speculating? We thank the woman for her help before continuing to ask around town for more information. The more we hear, the more certain we become. She cheated on him. Princess, I know what you're thinking, but it would be incredibly rash to tell Rumple about this. But she's lying to him. I can still remember the sadness in his eyes. Maybe somewhere deep down he still knows. Did his journal entry not say anything? You can try talking to him, Princess, but without any evidence, we're just going off rumors. If you were wrong, I think that would hurt the situation a lot more. I'm forced to acknowledge Waltz's reasoning. As much as I want to tell Rumple right now, I do not even know where he is. We finish our errands for the day and then return to the Marchen, where I complete my chores around the tavern before retiring to bed. Later that night, after turning for hours in bed without any successive sleep, I make my way downstairs for a glass of milk. I stop abruptly at the sound of hushed voices. Parfait and Rumple are sitting together at a table, their voices soft. It means a lot to me that you're still taking care of me, even with everything that you have on your plate. When things are uncertain as they are right now, the little things that remain the same are actually comforting. What? No compliments tonight? He clears his throat. Lady Parfait, I always find comfort in your presence. Your heart's not in it, is it? Please don't stress yourself out trying to take care of me. I've seen the orders of the medicines and the dosages. I can take care of myself, Rumple. I owe you and Lady Delora for letting me stay here, even now. You could have kicked me out, yet I'm still here. This isn't the confident Rumple that I'm used to seeing. It's rather heartbreaking to see you like this, you know? Parfait's eyes drift past Rumple and she sees me before I can dart away. I think you're worrying your partner, too. Rumple turns in his seat and stares at me. Princess? I slowly make my way toward them. I'm sorry, Princess. I haven't been trying to help you at all. It's fine. Parfait's right, though. It's not like you to be so pitiful. Your words are still sharp as ever. I glance at Parfait curiously. The light of the tavern lights her face up dimly, making it look more ghostly than usual. She looks sicklier. Do you think I look like a ghost, Princess? Yes. By the time night comes around, I am utterly exhausted. You said you were like this because of the Tenebrarum lucis you have to take care of. That's correct. I used to be able to watch over it more easily, but now with the balance between both crystals lost in the kingdom, it's getting harder. This responsibility is a big burden. It's a heavy toll on my body. But that doesn't diminish any of my pride. I'm proud to bear this responsibility. Someone needs to do it, and I'm very glad I can help so many people through bearing this burden. What would happen if you just let the responsibility go? There would be even more chaos than there is now. And what of the Tenebrarum bearer? Would they not help you with your stress? There is no Tenebrarum bearer currently. What? Parfait stares at me for a few moments, a complicated expression on her face, then suddenly she sighs. Please, do not worry about me, Princess. I've lived a good life. I just want to do more good while I still live, and I'm very lucky to be surrounded by so many good people. Anyway, the two of you should be off to bed soon. I can tell you're both tired. Parfait pauses to look at me, eyebrows slightly arched. Oh, before you go, there was something I meant to ask you. Ask me? Parfait crosses her arms and looks at me tersely for a few moments. The look is so unlike her that it almost concerns me. She looks uncertain of something, though I cannot imagine what it is. What could she want to discuss with me? I wanted to ask if you were free the day after tomorrow. I'm free whenever my schedule says I am. Then if you could spare 20 or so minutes, I want to speak with you about something. Very important. Important? I suppose you could say it's related to your curse. Fine. Parfait smiles at us before walking back to her room, leaving me alone with Rumple. Rumple smiles at me uncertainly. For a few moments, I think he might actually talk to me, but then he rushes off after giving me an apology. I watch him walk up the stairs, my heart sinking. I need to know what's going on with him. Today is my day off. I keep on the lookout for Rumple. Eventually, I see him making his way down the staircase. He doesn't look quite as disheartened as last night, but his expression is still rather somber. He says good morning to everyone as he usually does, and then walks out through the front door. And that is my cue. Following behind Rumple without being seen proves to be remarkably easy. Even if he is perceptive, he won't be expecting me to follow after him when I normally work during these hours. He makes his way through the town until he comes to a stop at a little cafe in the main plaza. It is cleverly hidden, just slightly out of view, not at all in plain view like the rest of the shops. Bria is sitting, waiting for him at a table with a journal. The way she smiles at him numbs my heart. I make my way over to the nearby fountain and crouch beside it to keep out of their view. I can hear their conversation, just barely from where I sit. You know, I'd been searching for you a long time when I saw you. You suddenly disappeared from the house one night and I couldn't find you. Why did I leave the house? I don't know. Was it a fight? No, not a fight. We barely ever fought. We made a promise when you gave me this ring. We promised we would never make each other sad. I close my eyes and breathe. Ria's words drive a bitterness through my heart. After everything I heard, is it possible those rumors were baseless? Oh, it is possible those rumors were baseless. But isn't it also possible that they were the truth? And Rumpel mentioned a fight. Now's my chance to tell him. Interrupt or reconsider. Oh gosh, this is... It is kind of out of line just to barge in, but... I don't trust her. Let's try. I step out from behind the fountain and slowly make my way over to the table. Bria looks up and around. After a few moments, her eyes fall on me. She immediately scowls. What are you doing here? I came to see if you were lying to Rumpel. What? Is there something wrong with Miss Partner? Not with me, but perhaps with you. Excuse me. You seem to have quite the reputation. Ooh. Princess. I have no idea what you're talking about, but taking people's words at face value is foolish. Mother would have said the same thing, but why would they lie? So is it not true that you were seeing another man? How dare you! Bria stands up and glares at me. I frown back at her. Her anger does not faze me. She seems like a petulant child. I can't stand jealous girls. They're the bane of my existence. And you're what, 18? 17, but what does that even matter? Either way, there'd just be about a 6-year age gap between you two. 24? Gods, am I really so aged? Rumpel. The two of us look at him in unison, then back at each other. I'm here because I want to help my partner and because you are lying to him. And who are you to say that I'm lying? You're a terrible little spy is what you are, hiding places to watch us, going around town asking about me. I'm telling you now that Rumpel doesn't need you, especially if you're the one spewing lies. Those words have no weight coming from a hypocrite. Damn. Wait, ladies. Rumpel looks between the two of us, eyebrows furrowed, then he shakes his head. Bria, I knew. It was in my journal. What? Rumpel faces Bria, his expression crumpled. Crumpled Rumpel. It was that lord, wasn't it? The one I refused to take money from that one time I helped him? He told me himself. I knew it. I think that's why this feeling inside of me is so mute right now, why I was always having second thoughts about your stories. Bria, why didn't you ever tell me you were seeing him? I asked you that question back then too, but you never told me, and so I was waiting for you to bring it up again. I was waiting for you to explain. I was waiting for... As if I could ever get anything through that thick skull of yours. Even I can't stop myself from staring at her when she insults Rumpel, but with this, she has admitted that the rumors are true. Even if I explained myself, all you would ever say was that you were sorry, but nothing ever changed. What did I do that was so wrong? Look at you! Even now you can't bring yourself to be angry at me. You knew the truth, and instead of demanding to know why I did what I did, you keep asking what you did wrong. You'll never realize what you did wrong, Rumpel. Then tell him. Some things never change. Bria scowls as she makes her way around the table. Rumple tries to call her back, but Bria only frowns as she walks off. Rumple lets out a long sigh. And there go all of my journals, too. Right, he said that Bria had all of his old journals. I'm sorry. Huh? I only made things worse. I'm still not entirely sure what they were talking about, but... Princess, you don't have to apologize for anything, though. Oh no. I would like you to apologize for shedding some light on my age. God damn it, Rumple. What? Am I really, truly that old? Suddenly he looks disgruntled, but the look of distraught on his face is almost comical. Rumple, you're 24. Dude, you're not that old. That's only 2 years older than me. I can't help it when I smile and then start to laugh. Did my ears deceive me? Is that wonderful sound coming from your mouth, Princess? How precious! It's just... You're an old man. If I'm an old man, then I'm young at heart. Besides, I would be a lot more offended if you weren't smiling while you said that. That's adorable. After a few moments, Rumple sighs and shakes his head. I'm sorry you had to see all that. I knew there was more to the story than Bria was letting on because I read the memory in my journal. You knew about the nobleman? Why didn't you say anything? Like I said, I was waiting for her to say something. I wanted her to open up about it honestly. Bria's undoubtedly bold, but I doubt she's all that honest. At all honest, whatever. The journal entry. I never read it to you. You've been distant the last week. I have been, and I'm sorry for that. But allow me to enlighten you. Rumple gestures to the chair that Bria had been sitting in, and I take a seat opposite him. First, the nobleman was one of my patients. He had a grievous sickness, one that no one else had been able to cure. I cannot help but remember the little boy with the impossible sickness. It seemed he was drawn to Rumple, too. Rumple wasn't able to help that boy on his own either. Some woman offered her assistance. Did you manage to cure him with the help of that same woman? It's another cryptic entry, but yes. The mysterious woman from the first entry reappears. We strike another deal, but I can't remember the deal at all. All I know is that afterwards I did something to make Bria hate me, and she began seeing the nobleman. Or maybe it was before that. Maybe she was just unhappy. She won't explain why. She still cheated on you. That's her fault, not yours. Rumple nods absently. I can tell he's not convinced. In any case, even though I can't remember the entirety of what happened, every time I think of Bria, I thought of our love in the past tense. Rumple frowns, but it's fleeting. Suddenly, he's smiling again. Let's head back for now, Princess. I'll figure out how to reach Bria later. I follow Rumple back to the merchant. Though he seems fine for a time, Rumple's somberness returns as we head back. He looks like he's trapped in his thoughts. He needs the rest of his journals, but how is he going to get a hold of them now? Yeah, and I didn't get the little symbol thing. That was the wrong choice, but... Oh, Princess, you're here. Sorry we're late. My, the Princess is gracing us with her presence. Parfait said a few days ago that she had something to discuss with me, so I'm here. Then let's get right to it, shall we? She plops down on one of the chairs, and Parfait sits down gracefully beside her. Princess, the other day you asked me about my responsibility, and briefly about the Tenebrarum bearer. I did, but what does this have to do with me? It has everything to do with you, because when it comes to that second inquiry, the answer is right here. Delora points at me. I stare at her, not comprehending. Princess, the bearer to the Crystallum Tenebrarum is you. What? I'm not able to even feel shock, just confusion. But how do I have anything to do with these crystals? See, I told you she'd be confused. It's because we started backwards. I'm so sorry, Princess. I don't understand. You remember the story about the crystals, Princess? For a time the crystals were in complete balance. Even the witches who drew on negative energy were respected. Then one day, Hans wrote the fairy tales. Witches were suddenly painted as villains. Humans attacked the witches, trying to drive them out. Their leader, who just so happened to be my best friend, was hard-pressed to try to keep the peace. She was the original bearer of the crystal. But as witches were killed and thrown out, she found her patience wearing thin. She killed a human, the ultimate taboo, and there was nothing we could do but try to stop her. This bearer, the leader of the witches, and bearer of the crystalline Tenebrarum, is someone you know, or someone you knew. It was your mother, wasn't it? She erased all of your memories, made you think that the fairy tales were evil, that humans were terrible. Yep. I feel something dark stirring inside of me. A sharp pain cuts through my heart, making it hard to breathe. The previous bearer of the crystal was your mother, Princess. Hildur, the leader of the witches. That's impossible. Mother wasn't a witch. But she was, the strongest of us all. When she died, she kept some of her power sealed within the crystal, which is why it still allows the fairy tale curse to spread. What kind of lie is this? I can't use magic, and Mother never told me that she was a witch. She would have told me. It sounds like it, doesn't it? But I assure you, Princess, we wouldn't ever lie to you about something like this. As impossible as it seems, you are a witch. Your power won't manifest until you're 18, and at that time, you will inherit control of the crystal. Since your birthday is soon, this was the last chance we had to teach you goodness. Your mother's been shielding you from it for so long. We trusted you were different from her, and you are. But Mother was the only one that ever loved me. She stole away your memories and made you hate the world. Delora. She was fostering hatred in you, making you just like her. You don't know anything about Mother. I stand up, rage coiling up inside of me like a snake. Rhea, I know a lot about her, more than you will ever know. No. The truth is hard, Princess, but eventually we all have to face it. Hildur was my beloved friend. Facing her was the hardest thing I've ever done. We only want to help you. Well, you're not very good at it. I turn on my heels and storm out of the room. I feel that there was more to what Delora and Parfait wanted to say to me, but I can't stand to hear it right now. Oh, shit. I walk into the clearing and sit against a tree, furiously rubbing at my eyes as I try to clear my dangerously water eyes. Showing emotion is weak. I sit there for a long time in the clearing, trying to calm myself. My thoughts spin wildly out of control. Princess? I see him out the corner of my eyes, standing between two trees, his eyebrows knit together with worry. What, were you listening? Oh, you were listening. Listening? No, I just came to look for you in your room, and when I came downstairs, Parfait told me you'd run out into the forest. May I sit next to you? I say nothing as he walks over to me. He sits down beside me, his hands resting on his knees as he looks up at the canopies of the trees. Thank you for today, Princess, for coming after me and trying to make things right. I'm not in the mood to talk about this right now. My thoughts are too scrambled. Sometimes truths are hard. How do you know it was the truth? A feeling. Trusting people's hard sometimes. I understand. He looks at me, and his eyes seem to glimmer softly in the moonlight. Would you like someone to listen to your problems, Princess? Yeah. I rub at my eyes as Rumpel looks at me with a quiet smile. He could be talking about his own problems, but instead he's trying to comfort me. Parfait and Delora told me about something. They told me something about my mother. And it doesn't make any sense to me because everything that they're saying makes her a villain. Even villains are often misunderstood or have trying circumstances. Rumpel slowly reaches out to rest his hand on top of mine. I sit up straight and stare at him, my eyes wide. Rumpel smiles at me, a slow, soft smile that crinkles the edges of his eyes. Seeing such a beautiful lady close to tears makes my heart break, you know? But if you ever need to cry, you should. Tears aren't weakness, they're just a form of expression, and even the strong of us cry. I'm not going to cry. My mind reels and then starts to feel fuzzy. Definitely the Ice Princess. The title startles me out of my thoughts. I stare at him pointedly, beginning to grimace, but Rumpel just smiles. I always thought it was a delicate name, suitable for a strong and beautiful woman. Seeing you like this, it makes me realize that the name suits you. Perhaps if everyone else meant it that way, it wouldn't be so terrible a title. Rumple slowly takes his hand away and smiles. Though he insists on hearing me out, I insist on the opposite. For now, I want to keep what I discussed with Parfait and Delore to myself. I still need time to process it. For tonight, I just want to forget that the conversation ever happened. For some time, the two of us are silent. There are no words exchanged between the two of us, but the silence is comfortable. Then eventually, Rumple puts a hand on my shoulder. Things will work out, Princess. I hope so. I stand and excuse myself. Good night, Rumple. I turn and walk away. Good night, my sweet princess. Muddled truths. Well, this story is definitely getting very interesting. In a way, I kind of do want to go back and pick the right decisions for Rumple, but I'm not going to go through and change things. I'm just going to accept the story as is, so. We'll have this video saved here, and we'll continue from here with Chapter 7 in the next video. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, let me know down below with a like or a comment. And I hope that you're all having a good day or night wherever you are, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!